are gold and blue, born in 1872, the greatest team in the world. We are known as we follow on. We are the people through and through, the gold and blue since.
Good afternoon all, and welcome to Bold and Blue 1872. My name is Chris. First of all, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. I am today joined by my good friend Jack. Jack, happy new year, my man. I hope you enjoyed the time off there. How's things, mate?
Yeah, happy new year to yourself, Chris, and happy new year to everyone. The time off was relaxing and busy in equal measure.
Yeah, some steak pie fiascos going on. I hear. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's not talk about steak pie. It's a sore point at the minute.
Yeah, I did a bit of an episode myself over the period there, so I'll share it. Why not? Yeah, you might have noticed that we've not been on the pod for a couple of weeks after. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. We did plan to be on after the Hibs and Hearts game, but yours truly had a little heart attack the week before Christmas. Nothing too serious. I know heart attack, people start thinking that's a big deal, but just a little clogged artery that I had to get a stem put in there. A stent, I should say, sorry. And then I've been sick with a virus ever since that I caught, gratefully, from the hospital. So we've not been on for a couple of weeks, but all good. Yeah, the last few days have definitely cheered me up. Let's put it that way. Christmas and New Year was a bit of a downer for me. Had to rearrange and make new plans, etc. But we'll get into more detail what's happened in the last couple of days. I've been walking around with a big cheesy smile on my face for the last couple of days, like I think most Rangers fans have. I was just joking to Jack there, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I've never tuned into more Celtic podcasts in my life than I have in the last couple of days. It's been quite a laugh, I must say. What have you made of the last couple of days, Jack? We'll go into more details on the game, but it's been fun, hasn't it?
I have to say, it's been a long time coming for a lot of Rangers fans. I know we had 55 and we enjoyed it, and but we were locked out for most of that season. And other than that, it's been pretty miserable in terms of the odd derby win here or there, or whatever. But it has been thoroughly enjoyable, I have to say. And as Chris said, I have found myself tuning into these shows as well, just for a bit of a laugh, a bit of light, humorous relief at the end of the night.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of people that will not admit it, but there's a lot of Rangers fans that have been doing the same, I can assure you. Super Scoreboard has never had more Rangers fans tuning into it than I can remember anyway. I don't usually tune into it myself, but I've certainly been getting a good laugh out of it the last couple of days. But listen, they've gloated themselves for long enough. It's our turn to have a laugh and a giggle at their expense. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Maybe 2 months ago they were ripping us for maybe finishing third or fourth in the league, and that seems like a very realistic scenario for them at the moment. But yeah, listen, we'll talk about the Old Firm game. I do want to talk about some comings and goings that are being rumoured at the moment, and what's next for us. We've obviously got a couple of tough tests around the corner over the next week. But we didn't have a chance to catch up. Obviously, there was the Hibs and Hearts game and the St Mirren game before. Obviously, I don't want to go over old ground too much, but I did want to give my thoughts, just kind of building up to the Old Firm, how I was feeling after that run of games since we last spoke. The Hibs game, yeah, kind of torrid, a tough watch, hard fought win. Not the best game, but I did expect us to beat Hibs. I think we talked about that the last time we caught up as well. I was more concerned with the Hearts game, which I wasn't overly confident coming into. Yeah, it kind of transpired the way that I thought it would. And I think I was even more concerned with the Hearts game, with a lot of the, and I've touched on this in the past, the way that kind of did appear to me that Danny Rowe was kind of maybe throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticked with a lot of the changes he was making in that game. He made a lot of substitutions that again didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then the St Mirren game, I thought it was night and day. The St Mirren game for me, something clicked. I thoroughly enjoyed that game with St Mirren. Really enjoyed it. I know it was only 2-1-1, but it was 2-1, wasn't it? I'm not losing a lot. And obviously the penalty, but I just the passing, the speed we were playing at, everything was crisp. Everything seemed to click. There was a couple of repeat offenders there. James Tavernier, I thought was shocking. And Diamandi, I thought was pretty bad as well. But I thought that St Mirren game, certainly me personally, heading into the Old Firm game, watching that St Mirren game, I was on one of the other chat groups and I'd mentioned, if you bring Tav out that team, put Sterling at right back, take Dio out the team and put Barron in, which ultimately has ended up what we did. And we'll talk about the overall performance in the Old Firm game. But I thought if you made those couple of tweaks there, I couldn't see Celtic beating us. And it was based off that St Mirren game. I know it's only one game, but heading into the Old Firm with that kind of run of games, Hibs, bit torrid, Hearts, very concerned. And then for me, St Mirren just gave me this massive boost in confidence heading into the Old Firm game. What did you make of that kind of that week that was that we've not had a chance to catch up on, Jack?
Very briefly, I mean, like you said, the Hibs, I did expect us to beat them. It was a tough watch, but getting the win was the main thing. And I mean, to be honest, out of all everything, regardless of performance, all I've been wanting is results. But you can only get away with a playing like that for so long. The Hearts game, I just I mean, it might be in a bit of an extreme word, but I kind of felt it was a bit of a capitulation. Like I just kind of watched all the players going, what's going on, what we're doing, and like you said, changes being made, and I looked at Hearts that day. I know we're here to talk about Rangers, but I looked at Hearts and thought that's a team that just knows exactly what they're doing. I mean, even some of the players they brought in with this whole James Town analytics, and I went, okay, Hearts. You can see, okay, we've beaten these other teams, but you can see why Hearts were at the top. So I was pretty deflated at that. I kind of thought, I thought everyone else get their act together, and we might, struggle in terms of getting there or get to second or whatever. And then the St Mirren game, like you said, I felt I really enjoyed it for about 70 minutes. I feel some of the changes kind of took some of the momentum away, and obviously they got the penalty, in which Jack Butland, again, what's that, 7 out of 8 he saved, something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of almost expect him to save it now. It's kind of becoming a bit Alan McGregor-esque in terms of going, right, he's probably going to save this. Also loved his reaction. He just kind of stood up as if, yeah, cool. And then, as you said, okay, they got their goal, and I felt it was a bit kind of tetchy at the end. I just wanted to finish, but I thought the majority of the performance was great. Like you said, the passing, the movement, it felt really slick, like the slickest I'd watched Rangers, kind of this season at least. And I again, those changes you talked about, Barron, Sterling, I went, right, fantastic. I was going into this Celtic game full of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Chermiti in that St Mirren game. And we'll talk about the Old Firm in more detail, but he was outstanding in that St Mirren game. He was all over the place. Now, did he convince me that he's a standout number 9? I don't think he convinced me that he's something else. I'm not sure quite what it is yet. I've mentioned this in the past. I don't see him as being a prolific striker, but he's he's showing something else at the moment, and I don't want to get too carried away. I know it's only the last couple of games, but he stood out to me in that game. And obviously fellow Asgard had, for the first time in a long time, showed up against St Mirren as well. But you're right. It just the way the game was, the passage of play, the way we were finding space, the way that the passing, the movement, everything was so crisp. The press, there was very little I could complain about, and like you can say it, like it's St Mirren, right? But St Mirren have just beat Celtic a couple of weeks ago in the cup final, so I don't, there's a couple of players at St Mirren that have been a problem for us in the past as well. So I don't think the way they play is really sets us up well to play well against them. But we absolutely did. So anyway, so that's out the way. We head into the Old Firm, like we just mentioned there. The team sheet comes out. Sterling comes in at right back. Music to my ears. Not going to slam Tav, but Tav has been really poor this season. I don't think there's many people that would disagree with that. Sterling looks like he's been really solid since he came back. I know he's only been back for a few games, but he looks night and day ahead of anything else that we've got from a defensive perspective. So he comes in, Barron comes back in, and Diamandi gets dropped. Again, music to my ears personally. Diamandi, I think, has been horrendous this season. And I've been calling for a while that he shouldn't be dropped. Now, lo and behold, he does come on later on in the Old Firm game and changes it. But where did you make it the starting lineup? Obviously, Chermiti starts as well. Fellow Asgard starts. Any concerns, or were you coming away from the St Mirren game the same as me, thinking those couple of changes were the right changes?
I thought the changes were right. I'd be lying if I said, and obviously we'll touch on that more, that fellow Asgard in the Old Firm game was not a concern for me. Obviously, I know he got the red card last time. I mean, yeah, he done parts. He scored the goal against Motherwell. He's played better, shall I say? And I thought, right, okay, this is a chance to turn up, and put in a performance. But other than that, there's nothing I would have changed. Like you said, Chermiti 100% should have kept his place based on the St Mirren performance. Dio really, really frustrates me as a player. In terms of there's definitely a player in there. But he should have been dropped. And the same again. Like I have always been quite a staunch Tav defender, but even I couldn't argue the fact that he's not been great this season at all. Sterling is, streets ahead of him in terms of defensively, even, never mind going forward. I'd rather my defender defended first and foremost.
Yeah. You've just reminded me we even played Motherwell in the middle of that as well, by the way. That just shows you how far up my head has been up my arse last week. But yeah, let's talk about the first half, right? I don't want to start out in a negative, right? The Old Firm, we're all very happy with the result. That first half was horrendous. It was horrendous. I remember at one point putting a comment in the chat that this is embarrassing. They were all over us. How we come out of that first half only 1-0 down is beyond me. Jack Butland is probably could have done, in my opinion, probably could have done better for the Yang goal. I mean, the lad hit it hard, and there was a bit of movement on the ball, but I think Butland probably should have got to it. But from that point on, Butland just keeps making save after save. First half was bad, mate, wasn't it? And fellow Asgard was absolutely rotten. Well, I mean, the lot of them were rotten in the first half, but fellow Asgard in particular was pretty bad. Thoughts in the first half?
Well, I'm going to touch. I thought it was terrible, right? That's it. I thought it was terrible. I kept screaming about where the press was. I felt we stood off them a lot, gave them I felt that we'd done our best to make them look like a better side than they are. And I'm watching it going, where's the team that played against St Mirren, or you even watch we beat Motherwell, who Motherwell gave them a footballing lesson, only a couple of days beforehand. So I was like, what's going on here? The Yang goal for me, now I do subscribe slightly to the thought that Butland could have done better, but what really infuriated me about the Yang goal is the fact that he just walked by, 2-3 Rangers players. Nobody even just take him out the play, but he just kept going and waltzes into the box and scores. And I kind of go, okay, Butland should have done better, but I was like, he shouldn't even have got to that point, is what infuriated me the most. And fellow Asgard, what I'll say is I was surprised at everyone else's below par performance based on how they played against St Mirren, but I wasn't quite surprised at fellow Asgard just going missing, getting a yellow card. And I'm like, it's that early in the game. He's pulled him back. Yeah, okay, it's a yellow card. Or people go, oh, come on, like, let that one go, sort of thing. But he just doesn't do anything. He wants so much time on the ball that he's not going to get. And again, he's an infuriating player because I definitely think he's got ability, as he's got technical ability, he's got physicality about him, and he should just be running games in terms of, like, he's got all the attributes, but I watch him and I'm like, go get rid of the ball, quick. It just doesn't do it for me in that regard. Like, is this going to be one of these games where you almost go, you can't trust him in terms of the way, like, you think Chris Boyd used to get used sparingly back in the day with Walter Smith in those games, like, be used in other games. I don't know if that's the route it's going to go down. I mean, if we can still take our money back on him, I'd still let him leave, shall we say.
He looks terrified, doesn't he, at times?
He does. He looks really lost almost, like as if he doesn't know what to do. And I'm like, I almost get the impression, but when he got that yellow card, that he was almost scared to get another one because that'd be a red card. I almost felt that was kind of slightly playing in the back of his head as well.
He obviously gets sent off in the last Old Firm, so you can only imagine it was playing on his mind. But I think that's the problem, isn't it? It wasn't a surprise that he let us down in that game. But yeah, the Yang goal, Fernandes. I like Fernandes, right? I think there's something there with him. People disagree with me about this. Obviously, from a aesthetics perspective, they're completely night and day. But there's something reminds me of Amoruso with him. I know it's a strange comparison, but there's just something about him where he's got this kind of calmness on the ball. He's a bit of a dirty bastard, by the way. He's got a wee mean streak in him. As a certain Old Firm player's jaw found out at the weekend there. But I believe he ran into Fernandez's elbow. I think it was more that than anything else. But Fernandes, for me, for that Yang goal, just there's two other defenders behind him that have got it covered, and Fernandes is getting pulled back into that instead of coming towards Yang and closing him down. It's just a bit of immaturity, I think, at a higher level. You notice that Fernandes is getting caught out, but hopefully that's stuff he can work on. But I 100% agree with you. It should never have got to the point where he got that shot off. But for me, Butland could have done better. But listen, we come out of the second half. I did say at the time, like, we're only 1-0 down. It's all to play for. And by God, what a difference the second half was. Diamandi comes on. Now, I don't know. Tactically, Diamandi and Fel Asgard are very different players. And I think Diamandi definitely had a good game when he came on, which is the first time in a long time. So he's not doing it often enough, but credit where it's due, he had a good game when it came on. How much of it was it Diamandi replacing fellow Asgard, or was it fellow Asgard just coming off that made the major difference? I'm not sure. But by Lord, man, that second half was night and day, and there was some slight tactical changes that Danny Rowe made, and Nancy just had no answers for it whatsoever. Did he just stuck to? He's that typical plan A, plan B is do plan A better, isn't he? He's another one of those stuck in the rut philosophy managers that only plays one way. By the looks of it, anyway. Maybe I'll regret saying that. But he just doesn't seem to have much in him in terms of tactical nous. And yeah, we absolutely dominate that second half. Couple of moments. Maeda's shot at one in particular that sticks out. Where it could have changed things, but in general, Chermiti absolutely outstanding in the second half. And Mikey Moore starts playing the way that we know he can. He was lost in the first half. He was reminded me of when Martin was here in the way that Moore was playing in the first half. But yeah, that second half, the two goals from Chermiti, and I have to say, Moore's goal and the celebration, just loved it. I loved it for a guy that age on a platform like that. You can tell he's really taken Rangers to heart, hasn't he? I think he's on record saying that his family are all Rangers daft now as well. So, yeah, what did you make of the second half? I thought it was a delight, mate.
As you said, it was night and day. And I do think there was. I've seen a lot of discussion around it. So I'm just going to touch on this idea of Nico Raskin being a number 6, and that's always a chat. And again, I felt even in the second half he was getting playing more like an 8, flying forward in terms of biting into challenges and just being like in and around it. Which I think I've had a lot of people say this. Somebody needs to have a conversation and say, Nico, you're not a number 6. As in, he might go on and develop to be a number 6, but that's where he's at his best. Taking that and just getting really stuck in is the best way I can describe it, and then Mandy, again, I tend to find he's never usually that bad in the Old Firm games. It's all the other run-of-the-mill games I think he's atrocious in. However, what I would say is he's definitely quicker with the ball in terms of he gets the ball and he's either going to move with it or he's going to turn with it or he's going to pat, more than Thelo Asgard does. Thelo Asgard wants to take a touch and take another touch and lift his head. Like Dio is quicker that way. So again, in general, I found that it kind of sped up the play a bit. I felt the press was miles better than it was in the first half, because I generally feel the press has been pretty decent overall if you take all the games as a piece. Obviously there's games where it's not been great, etc. But I generally think it's been better. It definitely returned in the second half. Chermiti, I mean, obviously nobody had a great first half. If I'm going to be honest, I'll stick up for him a bit. I don't really think he got enough of the ball in the first half to even really impact anything. And then you saw him second half. I mean, when he scored that second goal, he just opened the legs and he was away. I was like, look at the pace this guy's got on him. And then he just had one thing. I was like, he's no rolling that ball, so he's scored it. Granted, it takes a slight nick off Schmeichel as he tried to save it, but it was good in regardless.
He was a bit fortunate, mate. He was he
I
was a bit more of a foot on that.
And then it was like, it's good in. I was like, it's in, and he was away, and I was like, who is this guy? Do you know what I mean? And then you said Mikey Moore. I mean, he done pretty much what everyone would do if you're a Rangers fan playing for Rangers. He just get right in the crowd and he was gone. You just seen him. He was like, I'm off. I'm out of here. Again, I think I say that third goal was fortunate, but I mean, I think the Titanic went down a bit quicker than Kasper Schmeichel did to save it. So it was, if it was me, if that was Jack Butland, I'd be screaming how does he get down so slow, etc. But again, I'm not going to complain again. But I'm sure Dio picks up that ball and kind of just nudges it forward, lays it off, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then Mikey Moore picks up and scores. Again, that's Thelo Asgard. That's not happening. It might even turn and go back the way or sideways. So fair play to all of them. You know what I mean? The essay survived the first half in terms of not the game not being dead and buried, but I mean, still to go back out and do it in the second half, and just, almost that good old saying, stand up and be counted. I really felt they deserved it in the end. It's that, game of two halves that really quite was that. And, I was just absolutely delighted. I will be honest and say that, and Chris will know this, that even at 2-1, I was still texting going, I am not convinced. Then I went 3-1 and I said, I'm slightly more convinced. I think it was going to take 5 before I was like, okay, I'll be 100%, settled. But I would do worry if that had went 3-2 at one point. It never looked like it was, but if it did go 3-2 at one point, I would have worried how, how much are they going to be able to, defend that? Because I did feel eventually, maybe 80th minute, we started to sit off quite a bit, and I was like, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not saying you need to go gung ho and but I was like, you were just dropping further and further back, and I was like, it's not. You're just inviting pressure.
Yeah, it was a bit earlier than that though, wasn't it? I think it was
it couldn't even been after the third goal. Might even
after the third goal. Yeah. I was the same. I was worried. We were really sitting deep and just kind of absorbing it. And like I said, if that Maeda shot that he gets off goes in, that could have been a different game. But yeah, listen, hats off to them for the second half. Do you know what I mean? It's credit to Danny Rowe in terms of some of the changes that he made. Should he have started with Fellow? Well, you could argue with that, and I don't know. But at the end of the day, we come away pumping Celtic 3-1 in their own ground. So we can't complain. And capitulation of the Celtic support since then has been something to savour, I must say. Tavernier doesn't start the game in the Old Firm. He does give he gives the pre-match presser the day before the game. He mentions something quite interesting that doesn't really go into detail, but mentions there's been talks behind the scenes about his contract. I think I've made my thoughts clear on Tavernier before, and I think that would be, I don't know. I suppose it depends what the contract is. Is it a year extension, and it's a hell of a lot less than what he's on right now? Just to have him around the dressing room, maybe. If he's being extended to continue to facilitate that right back position, for anything more than a bit part player, I'd be really concerned. What did you make of that?
I do agree. As I said, the only way I see that working is if it's reduced terms, reduced terms of like also his role within the squad. Like, I don't have an issue so much as him being around. Like, and for all the things that people say about Tavernier, I mean, at the end of the day, this guy has lived experience, of all the horrendous stuff that's happened over the last number of years, but also some of the good points as well that he has experienced. So I don't have an issue with that, as you said, but it should not be same terms. I mean, I was going to say improved terms. I don't even think he could even ask for that, but and in terms of his role within the team, like, that has to be where it's at. I mean, you even look at just look at Dujon Sterling. He's been back, like 3 matches or something like that, and you just notice straight away like the difference. And again, that's nothing particularly on Tav. Like I said, Tav has not been a great defender, but he's older. That's just that. He's just one of those things. Like, you just get to a point where you just can't do it the same anymore. And as I said, I don't have an issue with him around for that reason, but that has to be it because they still need a right back, because, well, I don't imagine Max Aarons is going to be there, much longer, even if he sees out the season. So, again, you need
not. I hope not. Sterling is just night and day, isn't it? Like some of the defensive tackles he was making. Sterling was the one player that was consistent through the whole game in the Old Firm, and even in the first half, he was solid.
Well, there's that tackle on Maeda about 5 minutes in. Like, Tav doesn't even get close enough to make that challenge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
my only thing is, like, every time I see Sterling going to the ground or anything, I'm like, I'm looking through my eyes to make sure he gets back up again. I don't know how long it will take to get over that, because he's just had such a bad history. But I never had a problem with injuries before us. I think he had some long-term COVID issue but before he came to us. But in terms of, like, physically, he's never really had any injury problems before us. But if we can keep him fit, for me, he's the best. He stands out to me. He's the best player in the team. And obviously he can play in numerous positions as well. He's just different gravy, in my opinion.
I think if you've got Sterling, see you get him over the next couple of years and he stays fit, as in, like, he plays the majority of games, you have people knocking on the door trying to take him.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a good player. I think he is, and there's nothing flash about him in terms of how he plays, but he's just really solid and really good at what he does.
Yeah, he was Stoke's player of the year before he came to us as well. I mean, I know we signed him on a free from Chelsea, but it was at Stoke on loan and played right back the whole season for them. Again, no injury problems at all, and he was outstanding. So he's got a history of being a very dependable, decent player. So yeah, long may it continue that Sterling's back in the team. But yeah, again, just delighted. The last couple of days, I've just been walking around like a Cheshire cat, honestly, just so happy. But we move on, and we've got our probably second favourite team in the league coming up. We've got a double header with them back to back because we've got our game in hand that we'll be playing against Aberdeen twice. We've got them tomorrow, and then we've got them at the weekend, home and away. They have just sacked Jimmy Fallon. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. Is it a good thing that they might be all over the place? coming into the game, possibly, or might it galvanise them? I'm not sure. But yeah, this is, we can't get carried away with that result against them. It was, again, we need to be very mindful. That first half was atrocious. Jack Butland probably kept us in that game. We've only just lost to Hearts a couple, 2 games before that, and quite a poor performance. The Motherwell game, for the first kind of 20, 25 minutes, Motherwell were handing us our own arse. We turned it around for sure. The second half in particular was a lot better against Motherwell. But we have been, dare I say, riding our luck a little bit in some of the games that we've been winning recently, and Aberdeen tend to enjoy a performance against us. So, I think the next 2 games are really big. Jack, what do you think the next week?
I definitely subscribe to that mantra that the next game is more important than the Old Firm game that's just happened.
Yeah.
And I think Walter Smith used to say that will take care of itself. The game before and the game after are the most important. And we have been lucky, and there has been, like you said, talking about Motherwell, that first 20 to 25 minutes, where it was like, what's going on here? We need to start fast. My concern is, I was concerned that they removed Jimmy Talene, if I'm honest, because it's been pretty flat maybe under him, in terms of, I feel there'd be almost like a flatness and almost like here we go again, almost like mentality from the atmosphere, maybe how that impacts the players. That in a way could be lifted, I feel, by that not being there anymore, and there'll be a different kind of, I don't mean style, but they'll definitely be a renewed, I feel like they'll be reinvigorated slightly by the fact that that's kind of been lifted. So that does worry me. As ever, it's the cup final for Aberdeen, so that will give them that raised performance. 2 cup finals, shall we say, in a week. But I think we need to start fast. We need to start almost that way we did against St Mirren, in terms of that really good getting the ball forward, make them uncomfortable. What my other concern is, there's an expectancy now in terms of from the home support. Not that there hasn't been, but what I mean is, on the back of that game, that we're going, right, okay, you've done it against Celtic in their own backyard. Go and do it now. Go and put us 3 points ahead of them. Nothing else is acceptable. And I'm curious to see how players respond to that. Because yes, okay, you're still hunting Hearts, in terms of getting yourself back in the league title race, but everyone else will go first and foremost. Let's leapfrog them, and put them under more pressure. Because I just it does worry me in terms of how the players actually respond in that manner. Do I think we can beat Aberdeen? Yes, but given all the context around it, it makes it a bit funny. Mustn't even talk about the weather, if they're actually going to be here or not. That's a different story.
I seen your chat earlier on.
I'd seen a bit about that.
Tomorrow.
Apparently, there's chats that they're travelling down tomorrow. Whether how true or not that is, I haven't seen it confirmed anywhere. But if they're travelling down tomorrow, that is, it's, what is it, Ross County all over again? I think it was Ross County.
Yeah. Bonkers, mate. If that's accurate. I mean, even when it's not dodgy weather, they typically come down the night before, don't they? Well, let's hope that they make it down, because a good sheep pumping, I wouldn't mind that, just after humping after humping that lot at the weekend. It could be a very, 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 very delightful 7 days. But I'm with you, mate. I'm worried about it. I think the one thing that's the jury's that's still definitely out on in this Rangers team is the mentality of these players. Could this be a game to bring Miovski in? Maybe let Chermiti sit off him, bring Miovski in just as a little bit of a head fit with them. I don't know, but if we come through those 2 games, considering what we've been through over the last couple of weeks, I think I'll feel a hell of a lot more confident. I've took pelters for this. You've probably seen it in the chats we're in, Jack, that I have said I'm being very reserved about Danny Rowe, and I'll leave it a bit longer. I mean, we've seen new manager bounces with PC, Michael Beale, even when he came in. PC was on a title challenge at one point, and then it all fell apart. I think round about kind of March, April, wasn't it? At that, his first, not his first full season, but his first season when he came in. So we have seen this before. So I'm kind of trying to keep myself grounded in terms of where, like, we're still third, right? We're not even second. But if we beat Aberdeen back to back, I think Aberdeen are only, I know they've just sacked Jimmy Phelan, but it's only a couple of weeks ago Aberdeen were top of the I know they had a dodgy start to the season. A couple of weeks ago they were top of the form charts. So they were starting to play well. So if we can beat them back to back, I think it definitely, for me personally anyway, gives me a hell of a lot more confidence that we're in this. I mean, but we're what are we now? 6 points behind Hearts still.
Like
Hearts,
19 league games or something.
yeah. If we still got a game in hand on them, we have, haven't we? So, or do we? I need to check that. But still, I mean, if we can keep it within touching distance until we play them next, because we're playing them again in a few weeks. So, you know, I'd feel a hell of a lot more confident than I don't know. Once bitten, twice shy. You know what I mean? When it comes to Rangers at the moment, I want to get on the league title challenge train. I want to get carried away with Danny Rowe, but I'm just kind of still reserved, I suppose. I know a lot of people are not. A lot of people are the opposite, and that's great. But I want to see some more from us, you know.
Well, just on that, but I'm just going to give my throw my hat in the ring. I am very much not on the league challenge train, but I'm definitely feeling on the Danny Rowe Express, shall I say? Because I truly feel that one, he's not an ideologue like Russell Martin and Wilfred Massey on the other side of Glasgow. I like the fact that he's pragmatic and he will change it and he will tweak it. And he thinks about it almost more on a game by game basis, which for me, I think you have to, particularly in this league. Like, you know, also just the fact in the Rangers job, 1 minute you could be playing, you know, bottom of the league Livingston, the next minute you go and play Porto, you know, in the Europa League. Like, so you really have to be adaptable. And I think for me, that's the thing I've been impressed with the most, but also just how calm he is. Like, he's just so calm, but I feel there's that real steely determination from him to do well, you know, but he doesn't talk about ideas and processes and, like, you know, he's just very much like, you know, we've done this well, we need to do this better, you know, that's it. Like, you know, and he'll give the players praise for doing what they've done. Even I noticed at full time the other day, the fans were all singing his name and he's pointing to the players. He's like, as if like it's all on them. Like, so I truly feel that the players are, that, you know, that old adage, playing for him, you know, but I do feel like, you know, it's an absolute bunch of misfits and he's got them, you know, even in the conversation for a title challenge, you know, which is just incredible when you think back to where it was when Russell Martin was escorted off the premises at Falkirk.
Jesus, that was only a couple of months ago. I hear you, mate. I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I'm behind Danny Rowe, and I can see all the positives. But I also see a few negatives, and I suppose it's just my personality as well. I do kind of jump on these things. I've got a real bee in my bonnet with this Cameron situation. I can't shut up about it. Especially when I see fellow Asgard playing ahead of him, things like that. When it's technically they play in the same position. I've mentioned before some of the substitutions. I mean, I mentioned earlier on that Hearts game. I was just watching it. I was like, "What are you doing here?" Just none of it made sense to me. So, but you know, we're top of the form charts by a mile. He's he's winning games, and his win percentage is the complete opposite of what Martin's was with the same group of players, right? Could I play devil's advocate and say maybe some of these players needed a bit longer to come good? Moore was terrible. He's been playing really well. Chermiti, obviously. Is that Danny Rowe that's getting the best out of them? I hope so. I hope it is. Or was it something else? I don't know. So again, I'm just reserved, but I just want to see more and see it continue before I'm fully convinced. But yeah, everything you just said about Danny Rowe there, I can't argue with it at all, mate. He's definitely again, a couple of red flags, but for the vast, for the most part, he's doing really well. So long may it continue, and then I can start getting on board the train with everyone else, because we'll see.
Don't forget he wears suit and brogues too, just before you go.
He does, yeah, he does indeed. I like the guy. Listen, his accent winds me up. I'm not gonna. I don't. It does winds me up. I can't take it seriously. But anyway, I'm being silly. But he's doing well, and long may it continue. And I think that you'll be hard pushed to find any fans that are against Danny Rowe at the moment. And I'm certainly not one of them. Again, just being reserved. Right. So, what's next for Danny Rowe? Obviously, we spoke about Aberdeen and Danny Rowe and the team. We are in January. We're in a transfer window at the moment, and as of the 5th of January, we have not, out of the top three, we are the only club that has not signed anyone yet. I'd argue we're probably the team that needed to sign someone. The sooner the better. So let me throw a few names out there. Signings going out. Dow, the Hull manager, a couple of days ago has said that they are interested in Dow. I can't see the Hull manager coming out and saying that if there wasn't something concrete going on there. So hopefully Dow will be on his way. I think we're all pretty convinced that Rothwell will be on his way somewhere. There's a couple of clubs. Is it Derby and Sheffield United? Is it that's interested in him? And I don't think there's much chance that we'll see Rothwell in a Rangers top again. So it looks as if those two will be on their way, whether Dell's a permanent or a loan until the end of the season. I think his contract's up at the end of the season. I could be wrong on that front, but I think that'll be the last we've seen of Dell. No other rumours really about anyone outgoing, unless you've heard any yourself, Jack. But which is a bit of a concern. There was an article in the record about 5 players being transfer listed that was shot down by fan media later on in the day that day. That it wasn't actually the case. One of those players was Cameron. So again, little bee in my bonnet there, but apparently it's not true. The other ones being people like Rabi, Dow, Rothwell, so no one that's surprised there. But talk about some players that there's rumours coming in. So one that a lot of people have been talking about is Penrice, who I personally thought we should have signed in the summer. I thought it was a no-brainer. We didn't. Thanks to Fairwell, there was a number of players that we probably could have signed, and we ended up scrapping them. But he headed off to AAK Athens. He's been playing for them. He's played about 13 games for them. So I was kind of surprised to see that there was any potential for us signing him. A reputable fan media individual. He's been on the review a few times, actually. One of the AAK Athens fans. One of the AAK Athens fans media. He said that the bid for Penrice was rejected. Apparently, it was just over €2 million. So doesn't look as if that one's going to come to fruition. But what did you make of that one, Penrice, for you? Yes or no?
Again, I think you go back to it. It's a bit, well, it should have been a no-brainer in the summer previously. Again, I think it's going to be, like you said, he's playing for him. Okay, 13 games, like I just don't see how again, I'm not really clued up in terms of the value of all sorts of players that we're after, but I mean, £2 million in January, or €2 million, sorry, doesn't seem like it's not going to twist Andy's arm to go, yeah, okay, let him go. Do you know what I mean? Particularly if he has been playing.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have got to that point, really, in the first place. But that's by the by. If we can get it done, yes, I'd be for it. It's really just come down to a matter of, do Rangers go back? Do they, I don't want to say push the boat out, but, we do need the cover, so, yes, I would take him in a heartbeat if it's doable.
Let's see how that one plays out. Like I said, it does look as if the initial bid's been rejected. We'll see where it goes. One that won't go away, Robbins. This has actually been rumoured. He's another left back, plays for Westerlo. 4 million in transfer market, €4 million. Young lad. Don't know much about him. Haven't seen him play. Stats look pretty decent. But this one won't go away. And I have heard Chris Jack mention this guy's name a couple of times as well. I'm pretty convinced this is one that he's not willing to commit to, but I think he knows that there's something going on there. Maybe I'm reading between the lines and getting it completely wrong, but this one I think is possibly a runner. Yeah, again, I don't know much about him, mate. Have you seen him play? Have you heard much about him?
I've not even done the YouTube highlights, which can make MD look like a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Just putting out there that I am aware of that. But no, I haven't seen or heard much. I mean, what did you say? Did you say he was 21? Did I hear you right saying that? Or did you say
I think he is, yeah. I think
so. Again, another left back. I mean, we do have a young one already. So I am not opposed to a bit of experience getting put in that side. I mean, sometimes it's one of those ones. If the deal's there to be done, the guys. For me, it's like how does he come in and how does he play? You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for a player, particularly now. Like, I get all this about signing potential to an extent, and when something becomes available, do it. But I'm wanting players who are going to come in and be able to add something to the team, but also have a bit about them. I don't want to come in and overawed by, playing in front of 50,000. Now, don't get me wrong, like a young guy could come in and do that. I've always said this. For not all performances have been great. Someone like Jaden Magoma, I always feel he's handled it well in terms of like what's expected. I've seen him shouting at John Suter. I've seen him demanding, so I'm like, it is out there. But again, like he's still a young lad. Like, I need a bit of experience. I want a Sasa Papa in my team at the minute.
Yeah.
That provides me a bit of comfort.
This boy Westerlo does seem like he's a fullback. Doesn't seem to be a wing back. Seems to be a very defensive. Sounds daft. Very defensive left back. Which is music to my ears. But he's 22 actually. 4 million though. I don't know. Couple of other ones that have. This one won't go away. This has been doing the rounds for a while, and nobody's really been talking about it. But it doesn't seem to be going away. Jens Hertha Dahl, Norwegian guy, 7 million on transfer market, number 6, 20 years old. Again, this just won't go away. That's been about 5 or 6 weeks. This guy's been getting spoken about. Again, I know nothing about him, but 7 million for a 20-year-old. The ages of these guys is a bit concerning for me, Jack. I was expecting we were going to be focusing on getting experienced, more of a sure thing. If you can get a sure thing nowadays, but more of a sure thing. But yeah, another 20-year-old, 7 million. Number 6. Do we need a number 6?
I wouldn't argue that we could do a number 6. I think from what I hear is that Rangers are really keen on getting a number 6. But again, you're putting that all on a 20, not all of it, but you're putting on a 20-year-old, £7 million, or €7 million, whatever it is. It's a lot of money. And I, like you, I want a bit of experience or a bit of know-how. Like, even if it's within the Scottish game, again, it doesn't always, I don't need everyone to be like a 10 out of 10 starter. Sometimes I'd even take someone who you could play, 70% of your game, 60% of your game, whatever it is, but who will get the job done against all the rest of the teams who understand the league. Again, I'll go back to it. If this is a deal that Rangers think needs to be done and can't be done at a later date because it will cost them more money. I understand it. However, I'd want to be hearing that along with other sound bites about experience or players that, you know, are going to have a bit more about them.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, you know, I don't even know if there's not even a centre half mention on there. Like, now, don't get me wrong, like, Fernandez I've enjoyed, you know, but you've got Giga coming back. I'm not convinced by him wholly at all. John Souttar's always got a mistake in him as well. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I feel we still need another centre half as well, and I've not heard one mentioned.
There is one other one. I'll get to him in a moment, but I can say that both four lads in Heart and Hand have both said that they don't expect us to be in for any centre backs during this window. I don't know though. I mean, we've got Fernandez, Sope. I mean, Giga is shocking. He can't even get a game for Burkina Faso right now. Some 39-year-old guy who plays in Qatar's keeping him out of the team. That's how good he is. Obviously, Sterling can play there. Tavernier can play at the back as well. Yeah. Sope does look like he's been on a diet.
He has come down. I have to admit that.
He looks like he's lost a good few pounds. And he was pretty good in the last couple of games as well. But forget about the first half and against them. But in general, I think Sope and Fernandez is probably going to be our centre pairing, and if we go with a back three, obviously Sterling is there to come in at the back as well. So yeah, does it surprise me that they're not in for anybody? I suppose, and NCL is still there, but there is talk that he might go out at this window. Maybe if NCL goes out, maybe them will be in for someone. Another thing that they've both been saying as well is that we're not in for any strikers unless Danny goes, and that's a big if, because I don't know who's going to want to pay for Danny in the form he's in at the moment. I don't know, unless it's for a couple of million or something, and he goes back to the Netherlands or something like that. I don't know, but that's the two positions that they've been saying that it doesn't look as if we'll be in for anyone. I think that they've been pretty dead set that left back and a number 6 is definitely two areas that we will be strengthening. Another one that's doing the rounds at the moment. I think this is more driven by just fans talking over the last few performances of the boy. Elliot Watt, Motherwell midfielder, number 6, scored an absolute peller at the weekend there, scored against Celtic, played really well against us. Not the best pedigree before he came to Motherwell. I think if you go and look at his history, he's been around for a bit. He's not that young, but he's been outstanding the last few weeks. He's been the talk of the league. Is he someone you'd be interested in?
I'd be a bit of a hypocrite to say that, you know, someone who's doing well and then but we don't take an interest in them, but it has to be for the right price, and that's no offense to, you know, I've seen even people for a laugh saying whatever you're asking for Raskin and double it. You know, Motherwell fans have seen them saying that, but it can't be paying over the odds. You know, do we take a punt? Like, that's kind of honestly how I feel it would be. Then yeah, like you said, he was on loan at St Johnstone last season, and they obviously get relegated, and that was on loan from Burton Albion. So again, pedigree wise, no, it's not there. But you know, it might just be doing it. You know, but I wouldn't be opposed to it, is what I'm saying. But again, it has to be for the right price. But the guy knows the league clearly in terms of, like, you know, he has been playing well. It might even just be in a system now that suits him really well. But that, you know, Motherwell manager, who I thought Motherwell in general have done some really, really great things this season. I've enjoyed watching them.
Yeah.
So I would take him, but only at the right price.
Some of the football Motherwell's been playing is outstanding. They absolutely played Celtic off the park last week. But yeah, no, they're doing really well. No surprise that they're sitting where they are in the league. Anyone else in the SPFL you'd fancy, Jack? I mean, there's obviously a lot of talk that Penrice has been doing really well. Not Penrice. Hearts midfielder.
Oh, Cammy Devlin.
Devlin, thank you. A lot of talk that Devlin's been doing really well. I really like his name escapes me, but the young lad, he's not young, he's about 26. The boy that plays up front, Australian striker for Dundee United.
Is it Sam?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but
Yeah.
I know about he looks really good. I mean,
I fancy him as well. Yeah. Anyone else that's caught your eye?
I actually quite like the Cammy Devlin link. Now, Cammy Devlin's got that. You know, if you're putting a bet on, you would aim for Cammy Devlin to get a yellow card. You know, kind of one of those ones. But he's got a bit of bite about him. You know, but I think he has slightly more of that. He's got more of a footballer ability than we tend to think of. Pretty certain he's at a contract end of the year. He's you know able to talk teams in January. Again, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it has to all be at the right price. But it's kind of like one of those ones, where does he fit in? And I know you were talking about centre backs there and how we're not in for centre backs. In terms of numbers that we have, it makes sense not to be in for one. However, for me, the argument should be that those numbers should be trimmed most certainly. And like you said, yes, James Tavernier can play at centre back. Sterling can play at centre back, but we shouldn't be going, oh well, we've got enough centre backs because 2 fullbacks can play there, sort of thing. So, so for me, there's still not enough centre halves. But honestly, I really don't know. I mean, I'd take any of the Hearts boys. I mean, I like that. You've got Claudio Braga, which isn't going to happen, but Kazanides is the other guy that plays in the flank. I think he's been phenomenal to watch. But again, I just none of these teams, particularly teams like Hearts, aren't going to give up any of these players, or give them up easily, shall we say, in January, and then you're paying way over the odds for what they actually are.
Yeah.
The Elliot Watt one might be different. I'm not saying Motherwell are going to roll over and say we'll take $500,000 for example, but they might be more easily convinced in terms of them compared to someone like Hearts.
Well,
but yeah,
I mean, if Devlin's contract is expiring, then they might want to cash in now. But why you wouldn't sign him on a free at the end of the season? I have no idea. I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me. Halkett centre back for Hearts was another one, but he just signed a contract extension. I think it was New Year's Eve or something like that. He's one that I thought that we would have been in for. He's diehard Rangers supporter. Played for us when he was a boy as well. A lot of people have been talking about Gogic. I don't know about that one. For me, I'm not being a snob. I don't know. I don't know about that one at all.
I think he's great. But the only time I've seen him play is when he's playing against Rangers or when I watched the cup final against him. So he's played well, but I don't really know how he plays in every other run-of-the-mill game. But if you're looking for someone who knows the game and is not going to be afraid to get stuck in a physical league, then he is ideal. But again, even at that, St Mirren aren't going to give up one of their key players. You know what I mean? And again, you'd be paying over the odds for someone like that. But I think Barry Ferguson was rumoured to be looking at him back if he was going to be taking over in the summer and stuff like that. So I can see the sense in it.
Well, apparently Baza wanted Mulligan, Penrice, Gogic. He wanted all of those guys. Obviously Shankland as well. And you do think what this team would look like right now if all those if we'd signed those players.
The Mulligan one for me personally sticks in the throat a bit because I think he's done really well at Hibs.
Apparently, there's a lot of interest in Italy for him, so which is no surprise. So I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately. But let's see. But time will tell. Listen. Have you got anything else on your mind, Jack? Or we'll wrap it up there, mate.
Nothing else. I've got some more Clyde SSB to listen to tonight, so I think I'll go and get my work done.
I know.
Sorry, can't help it. It's been a long time. Flinging out all the hand grenades I can while I can, and before I need to get the
hype. Enjoy it while it lasts. 100%. They've had too long at the table where they've been able to just throw shade at us. So it's they can take their licks and they can enjoy it. because we certainly will enjoy it. But yeah, long may it continue. Right, listen, I hope everyone has had a nice rest over Christmas and enjoyed your new year. Hopefully we can get 56 and 26. That's my new saying. Hopefully I'll get on that train pretty soon. We're definitely heading in the right direction. A couple of massive games against Aberdeen. Hopefully myself and Jack, if I don't end up with another heart attack, we'll be back on after those 2 games to have a chat, talk about 2 glorious wins against Aberdeen, which I'm very much looking forward to, and maybe some signings will materialise over the course of the next week as well. Otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, we'd really appreciate that as well. The support we've had for the pod, we even got a few subscribers when we weren't even doing any videos there, which is nice. So thank you very much all for that. And again, we wish you all the best for the games this week. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your day.
We are gold and blue, born in 1872, the greatest team in the world. We are known as we follow on. We are the people through and through, the gold and blue since 1872. With our hearts on fire, we rise to the call. Through the highs and lows, we'll never fall. Glasgow Rangers standing proud and true. Together we sing for the bold and